Welcome to First and 15, the only podcast that's trying to get you paid. I'm here with two-time FFPC champ AB. Alongside him is my guy, Dio the Machine. Guys, we got a special guest for you. Fantasy Point CEO, Scott Barrett. Man, it is crazy to get you actually on the pod in person. Like, how long have you been playing fantasy?
Since I was about 13 years old.
Oh, God.
Yeah. My stepfather got me into a league with an in-person live draft. And as a 13-year-old, it's just like the best thing ever, like hearing the shit talk with real curse words and, vicious people going at each other. And I just thought it was the coolest thing ever. And so I was just hopelessly addicted from that point on.
So you are the CEO of Fantasy Point. So you have these advanced analytics, things like that, data suite, Fantasy Point's data suite. Guys, if you are playing these large field tournaments and you are not using advanced analytics, you need to incorporate that into your system. But you also play as well, right? So not only are you, the owner, but you also, like, what's the saying? Like, not only am I the
CEO, I'm the player president.
I'm the player president. Yeah,
something like that. Yeah.
I'm not a businessman. I'm a businessman.
But you also play as well, right?
Yeah. So that's actually where I got really addicted to fantasy football and led to me becoming an analyst was the FFPC drafts, just how addicting those were. And I had really good results early on. In 2019, I finished top 15 on a single bullet. I had the highest ranked non-McCaffrey team.
Yeah.
And McCaffrey, I was all in on that year. So that was frustrating, but definitely should have drafted more teams.
Yeah.
But yeah, love FFPC. Promo code points if you guys want a promo code.
Yeah.
And my co-host for the School of Scott podcast is Theo Greminger.
Yeah.
Massive high stakes.
Friend of the pod.
We just had him on the pod. Yeah.
Shout out Theo.
And actually, before I was ever an analyst, my buddy Mark, who was my bartender at my local bar back in Jersey, he was a massive high volume player. He would do 25 main event and big gorilla drafts per year. So I play as well. I love it. I'm addicted to it. We just did a draft on Saturday.
All right. So let's talk actual fantasy. I want to get you guys' opinion on.
Get into it.
Right. Everyone has drafted at this point. We all have multiple teams at this point. I know you guys look at your exposure, specifically you, AB, but I want to start with you, Scott. Who are where's your highest exposure when it comes to fantasy football players? Like, who are you exposed the most on?
Yeah, so if you read my draft guide, I give away my Exodia players. And this is not geared towards high stakes players. So I don't know if you guys have checked ESPN ADP or Yahoo ADP recently, but Ted McMillan is going still round 7.
That's crazy.
Travion Henderson, round 6. And so all that stuff. So you look at and it's like, oh yeah, no shit. But Amika Ibuka went round 3 in our draft.
Yeah.
He is still right now round 10 on ESPN. He's early round 10 on ESPN. How insane! So that's very easy. But high stakes, it's different. So if you're just talking FFPC, if you watch the stream, you and I see things very similarly.
Yeah.
Very similar players, a lot more differently than Theo. But Kenneth Walker is for sure one of my guys. Cam Scattaboo, for sure one of my guys, and you can get them really late. Luther Burden, one of the most mispriced players. Rashee Rice, even today, I was talking to Rich Rebar, who did a draft today after the suspension announcement, took him wide receiver 34, just crazy. I have him wide receiver 20, something like that. So those are my FFPC Exodias right now. Drake May is another one.
Yeah, shout out to Scott. You have a draft plan on Fantasy Points that honestly, I think if you just go back, I'm big on accountability, specifically for myself, but also if I'm going to listen to someone, I want to know that that person is accurate. I have zero issues with the people on Twitter. Okay, the people I told you, I don't care. Like, people do things for content. Maybe that's how they make their money.
Yeah.
Maybe it's for entertainment. I don't care. I have zero issues with it. But for me personally, for me to actually read and scroll and follow and take that and use it in a draft, I need to look back and see that someone has been accurate. And just going back to the days of Lamar and Mark Andrews,
Mm-hmm.
you've hit on quite a few. And so we talk about like we're on some of the same players, but it always feels good when I'm on a player and no one else is kind of really on them. And I feel like I'm on an island, and then we talk or we like exchange messages and you're like, yeah, I like that guy too. And I'm like, all right. Like Jaden Daniels last year, everything in retrospect always seems like it's just obvious, right?
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, I just could not understand. Like, I was just like, this is like the easiest like draft pick ever. Him and Joe Burrow, the easiest draft pick ever.
Joe
just
Burrow
wait.
And Jaden
yeah, it was just like,
Daniels.
just wait. And like, and I don't really see that this year, but like Kenneth Walker, I'm on. And then we go through this off season where there's like, there's so much good news on a player. You get to a point where inevitably, there's going to be an antagonist that kind of comes in to the fold. And now we start to kind of get the drumbeat of bad news, or something minor happens, an injury. Zach Charbonnet is who Zach Charbonnet's been.
Yeah.
If you've been a believer in Zach Charbonnet from day one, then I can understand you feeling like he can be a hindrance.
Yeah.
But for me, like, I think Zach Charbonnet's good, but my opinion on like how aggressive or how good a player he is has not changed, not based off of one or two plays in the preseason. So I'm still on Kenneth Walker. But Chris, to kind of get to your point or answer the question before we get to Dale, sorry, I'm sorry. I told you I go off on these tangents. George Kittle, I guess, will just be kind of my guy because I feel like that's the guy that I think I've reached the most on. I felt the most comfortable drafting throughout the offseason. My opinion has never wavered. I've never kind of like second guessed like, am I like doing too much or am I like, drafting too high? So that's been the guy that I think I've been like attacking, and I have to like force myself to not draft him in drafts.
Yeah.
I might agree with you more than anyone else in the industry, and like more frequently in agreement. You didn't know anyone I was on, what was it, a month and a half ago? I asked you for your highest exposed guys, and those were all my guys that went into the draft plan. I like David Njoku before the Fannin FUD, and so we definitely see, and philosophically we see things very similarly. Like the debates with Theo, where it's just like, these are all the same guys. These running backs you're obsessed with, Theo, they're all just like worthless handcuffs. Just draft the cheapest ones.
Oh, let this guy preach on handcuffs.
No, but Dio's motto, and like honestly, it plays in the back of my head that all handcuffs are the same until they get that opportunity. But Dio, like, where's your highest exposure?
So on a high end level, I've been since the beginning of draft season big on Malik Neighbors. And I think we kind of forgot about him, the injuries and everything. But so first off, to preface all this, I'm big on young players taking the next step.
Yeah.
I don't want the player that's going to give me the same value he gave me last year. Even if it was great value, I don't want somebody that's plateaued or somebody on the descent. I want somebody that's going to jump. Like I want somebody where I'm drafting them now. Next year, I would have to draft them earlier, right?
Okay.
So somebody like Neighbors, I can see maybe becoming wide receiver one. He had a great season last year, led the league in targets. This year, I don't see why he can't lead the league in targets. He has a better quarterback. I would assume he can kind of produce more, and I just like where I was able to take him. On the mid-tier end, I like the Browns this year for some reason.
The Browns?
I like the Browns. I like all the Browns too. I like Judy, where he's going. I like Sampson right now. Judkins, I'm not touching Judkins. I don't do that.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm not touching the quarterback, but I like Njoku.
Yeah.
And y'all just mentioned I like Fannin. Fannon's going super.
Yeah.
I feel like the Browns might actually produce this year on offense, and I feel like everybody doesn't care. Or
Vegas stats be damned. You're still going.
I don't even know what Vegas stats be damned. Yes,
we know that they are I guess predicted to be the lowest producing offense.
But again, at some point we're going to answer this question. You're going to stop dodging me. We're going to figure out how accurate Vegas is because we routinely turn to Vegas lines, Vegas stats, Vegas props. And we don't ask questions about how accurate they've been or where they have not been accurate.
Yeah. But even if that's the case, all these Browns players are being taken, like they're all like low value players, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't have to invest a lot of draft capital to get these guys. So you can get all of them or pick whatever poison you want and you'll be good with it. Another guy like George Pickens. I really like George Pickens this year. He's kind of been steamed up a little bit lately. For whatever reason, I don't know if it's camp highlights or, people just starting to kind of realize the talent and, the situation, but I like him. And then just on a global scale, I like all these rookie running backs. Kind of like what you're saying as far as the handcuffs. Everybody that I feel like has the opportunity to be the handcuff, I mean, because think about it, not many times a rookie comes in and automatically becomes running back 2.
Yeah.
So if these guys are already talented enough to take that running back 2 spot, you're talking about like your Brooks, your Giddens. I wasn't Hunter. I don't know what's going on there anymore. Scatterboo. Like all these guys, they're just one injury away. And again, this is one of the quote unquote best running back classes in years.
Yeah.
Give them that opportunity, man, and they're all going cheap.
You know the crazy thing about that is,
and I was on Henderson too, but now he's way too expensive for me.
The crazy thing about it is, like, before we started the season, both of you guys were talking about how this is historically like one of the best running backs. You know,
I got it from him.
Well, both of you guys were on it. So, like, immediately, I'm not someone who normally gravitates to like the rookie running backs, but I will listen to both of these guys, and like it paid off in a big way. You know, we talked about track record and how important that is, you know, in terms of like really wanting to listen to someone and take their advice. This guy's track record is impeccable too. So when you talk about like this like team that nobody's on or like the ADP is low, a couple years ago, that was the Houston Texans. And we smashed because of that. Last year, I want to ask you a question. I'm going to put you on the spot because, you know, we're only 1 week away. So Deo is extremely competitive. If y'all think we get the goods, we don't get the goods. So because Scott is here, we're going to try to get the goods.
Let's go.
We're going to try to get the goods.
So I didn't know that he was that high on Neighbors. I was like,
Exactly.
I sit with you every week.
So
you didn't ask me.
Last year, he was super high on Chuba. That was his guy. And we didn't find out until later. But it was just like, you know, because I was talking to, what's his name? I don't even remember his name anymore. Jonathan Brooks.
Yeah, he went to your school.
I know. I don't remember his name. We were all over, like, no. And then in the back, he was like, I don't know. He was like, I don't know. He kept doing it. He was like, I don't know. And then we just like feed. I was like, all right, maybe I should stop. And then at the very end of the year, we find out he's like, I got a ton of Chuba Hubbard. Another tangent. So we're in the Dynasty League. And if I show you the roster of the Dynasty League, you would want to throw up. How we won the championship last year, I have no clue. But it's because we have random guys like Chuba Hubbard who were just like dominating at a random time. So, long story short, who is your Chuba Hubbard this year?
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. You weren't expecting that on the spot. Who's the Chuba Hubbard this year?
I got to think about that for a second.
Okay, we can come back to that.
So let me just say, I agree with everything he said. If I'm in an FFPC draft, I'm taking Neighbors over Justin Jefferson.
Okay.
I envision a like year 3 DeAndre Hopkins year for him. He had like 193 targets that year with like the most bum-ass quarterbacks ever. He has that in his range of outcomes. And then Cleveland Browns, same thing. I just had a tweet a couple of days ago where if you look at what the Browns like, I think Stefanski's a genius, but if you look at what the Browns did 2 years ago in Joe Flacco starts, it was more passing yards per game than Burrow last year. The wide receiver won more receiving yards per game than Jamar Chase. David Njoku had more receiving yards than T. Higgins last year. And then the same exact thing with Jameis Winston last year. And so that potential's there. According to Vegas, it's the worst offense in football. There's no way that's true. And so Jerry Jeudy is our projection czar, Chris Wecht. That is his guy this year because he uncovered this like really cool stat. Horizontal routes are extremely valuable for fantasy. Like if you look at the fantasy point per route run of vertical routes, static routes, whatever, horizontal routes are the money routes. And Jerry Jeudy ran those more than anyone last year. And Joe Flacco was elite at hitting those with Josh Downs last year. You saw that. And so Jeudy is a guy I do not have a ton of exposure to, but you know, the traded Pickett, Flacco's starting. They're going to be trailing all the time. I think he could be a major difference maker.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, there you have it, man. Oh,
yes, sir.
Fireworks early.
So we talked about highest exposure. Let's now flip the script and talk about biggest fades. Like, who are you guys fading this year that most of fantasy is actually on? Like, who are your biggest fades this year?
So like to answer the question that you want is like Xavier Worthy. I've gone on this rant like many times. Just having him like so much lower than all the other experts.
Can you go one more time? I want to hear this. What's up with Worthy?
So it's just I didn't love the prospect. Yes, he's really fast, but the NFL is constantly overdrafting fast players. And he was actually the second worst deep threat of the past decade drafted rounds 1 or 2 by career deep yards per target. And that matches what Brett Whitefield has said on tape. He's one of the worst at tracking the deep ball he's seen in a number of years. So I think he was an overrated player. I think he largely sucked last year. And then I don't think this is a valuable role. I just think Rashee Rice is just the clear alpha. There's not much room for anyone else. What is the fancy MVS role in this offense? I don't think it's worth a lot. And what really drives me crazy is people making Tyreek Hill comparisons.
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill is so one of one.
Yeah.
Deshaun Jackson is a little bit like Tyreek, and then Will Fuller was a little bit like him, and then no one else comes close. Yeah. I think this might be the best wide receiver the past 20 years, just in terms of how he makes a defensive coordinator totally change the game plan to stop and account for him, and then he can't stop him. And so it's just like, that's not going to happen again.
Yes.
What is he? He's a pretty good deep threat. He's really fast. Maybe he could house some screens, but just where he's going and the hype. But like, if I could kind of zoom out a little bit and answer like who my faves are, it's really everyone. Like, it's just like my rankings for running backs are 28 players deep, and my subscribers like, why does it end there? It's because I'm literally not drafting anyone else. There's like,
you just stop. You just go to another position.
I don't want Jalen Warren. I don't want Tyrone Tracy. I don't want Jordan. These guys are, unless I'm in a 0 RB and I'm desperate, these are like not difference makers. They're no different than any of the other handcuffs. And so I have a section in the articles like, okay, draft Ollie Gordon late, draft this guy late. But and so like my quarterback rankings, I like the big 4, and then I like Drake May late, and I just don't want anyone else in there. And tight ends is like, I want George Kittle. I'm into David Njoku, though less so of late, and I like Loveland and Warren, and then that's it. That's it. And, FFPC tight end premium excluded. Yeah. But I'm fading like literally the rest of those guys. That's how I'd answer that question.
Yeah. All right, Daniel, what were you gonna say?
No. I was talking about something else. Who are you fading?
I wouldn't say I'm fading this person. I would say I missed out on this person.
Okay.
Confession time. I have not been drafting Trevion Henderson. I dropped the ball on that one. I apologize to the listeners.
Were you fading him, or you just?
I wasn't fading him. No, I wasn't fading him.
Well,
I was just like,
were you fading?
I just assumed. Well, I mean, I don't have ownership of it. To me, like when you ask, like, who am I high on? I go to my ownership, and I look at how many percent, like what's my percentage. And right now, I don't have I basically have almost 0%.
But that's just missing out on a guy. But like,
no. That's the guy has been everywhere. Like that's technically a fade. Okay, it's a fade that's gonna hurt. Yeah. But don't be like me, draft Trevion Henderson. Yeah. The issue right now is that like he's gone up to the mid-3rd round. Oh, yeah, so I could force some shares, but if I'm asking myself in all honesty, like, he has upside, but this third round is like this every year. We trick ourselves early in the year and like, we like X, Y, and Z guys, and then we get closer towards the end of the year and we're like, this third round sucks. Yeah. Like you pick your poison or whatever. But I think I'm willing to risk other guys. I feel like when we talk about upside, we only talk about upside in a new shiny toy. I think there's upside everywhere. To me, there's upside in an injured player like Chris Godwin, like the back end of the season. There's upside in a suspended guy like Rashee Rice. There's upside in the Trevion Hendersons of the world. And there's upside in fading, someone, or upside in like older guys like Devontae Adams. We're worried about the entire team just aging out, like, back broken, Matthew Stafford, 32-year-old Devontae Adams. But his ADP is being pushed down when if he were 2 or 3 years younger, he would probably be going at, in the 2nd round. So I think all of those, like, there's just so many different options for upside there where do I really want to fight against other teams who were getting Trevion Henderson in the 5th round?
Right.
So,
if I would go to Vegas, I wouldn't force a single share. Like
at this point, I'm just like, I'm gonna just live with it.
Yeah. Does he really have bury you upside? I don't know that I would live in fear. I mean, maybe, but
I'm a little scared. I'm not scared.
Yeah. But I mean, like, would you rather have the super late shares of Amika Egbuka or Ricky Pierce?
And that's the thing, is I gotta have a ton of those to kind of balance it out. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, can he bury you if Stevenson is still around? Does it have
The
to?
thing
Does
is-
Steve have to go away?
Or Gibson. Like, what are they going to do?
I forgot.
Like there's a team that
Gibson.
routinely or a offensive coordinator that in the past has used, and I get it. Trevion Henderson is Trevion Henderson, but in the past, this guy has used multiple running backs. And even when he was talking about Trevion Henderson, what comps did he use?
Mm-hmm.
He used Shane Vereen. Like he specifically said these like third down backs, and he can get there on efficiency. But the way that I look at it is just like, okay, where I miss is that he's rookie year Jahmyr Gibbs, right?
Even that didn't
Exactly.
bury you.
Like it didn't like necessarily kill you.
Yeah.
But I mean, we'll see. Maybe I get a 4th round share.
So my fades are James Cook. And
Okay.
don't ask me to explain all these things. It's just internal. Like I just wake up and just have this feeling about these guys, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to go with James. And maybe because I feel like he's going to regress, not just in the touchdown department, but also the role.
Yep.
I think there's a chance they might give a little bit more to Ray Davis. They might not run him up the gut as much as you. Maybe kind of keep him in space.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just that situation just feels funny. And then the holdout, maybe that's what spurred the whole thought process there. And then the second fade is ironically Chuba.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Chuba,
I agree with that one.
I'm fading him this year. And I don't really have a good reason because the competition Rico Dowdle, who I respect Rico Dowdle's game. Last year I did it.
Yeah.
Like I totally faded the Cowboys running back last year. But he showed me something last season. Like he's like, okay, you got a little something there. But I don't know if he's a true threat. Now, I don't know what the coaches think, but I don't know if he's a true – I do feel like if Hubbard goes down, they will have no problem having Dowdle play that role, And then, of course, they have Trevor Etienne, who I'm starting to look at him a little bit closer.
Me too.
He's a 4th-round pick. People I don't think realize that.
But he looks good, too, man.
He looks good. He has the pedigree as far as the family, athletic.
You don't think Trevor Etienne looks good?
He was going against third. I don't want to use that.
They got him in the return game right now, so they already utilized him. And, it's one of those things where he just kind of gains confidence, and eventually they see something, they might give more reps.
That makes me nervous. Like the round 4 pick who is on special teams is like, would he have been a round 5 pick without the special teams?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just want to say I agree. I for sure have James Cook as a massive fade. And I tried to sell him on Rico Dowdle in this draft like that. He might be this year's Chuba Hubbard. I mean, there's
okay.
And he's basically free on that.
He's free. But that goes back again. We keep harping on the handcuff, like. And this is how we were getting JCM in the 15th round. We're like, why am I paying like 9th?
We were getting a lot of JCM. I don't know why.
8th, 9th round, like
I can't do it now.
Isaiah Garendo, he was going in because I've been drafting CNC all, and I was like, I can't handcuff this guy because his handcuff is like going ahead of guys that I would start, going ahead of Loveland and Warren and all these guys. I'm just like, what? Like, I can't do that. And so I was like, I'll just draft JCM. And just now he's like my highest on
the other guy I'm fading right now is Chris Godwin. And that's my reason for that, the injury thing.
We get that.
But with that being said, I've been thinking about it a little bit lately. So obviously they didn't put him on PUP. And I think that's more so he can practice with the team. I don't think he's like coming back anytime soon. But I feel like he is eventually going to come back.
Exactly.
So when he does come back, I'm just trying to figure out what's going to happen. Because we're taking Ibuka in the 5th round right now.
4th round. Some people are arguing for him to be in the 3rd round.
If Ibuka is a 4th round pick and Mike Evans is in the 4th round and Godwin comes back, however long it takes, something's not going to fit there.
That's my whole issue.
Unless Baker Mayfield's about to go crazy this year.
That's why I like my new motto is like I'm not drafting for now. Okay, I'm drafting for the season. I said it a lot better before, but like I'm not drafting like based on like the information now, or based on like who's hot. Huh?
I said check past episodes.
Yeah, check past episodes, man. But like, cause we everyone's in the news right now, and like a Mecca to the moon. Like this guy like can do no wrong. And then like it's always these types of situations. The guy that gets the most hype, where like everybody else is like lays down. You have a McMillan injury. Godwin's like, no.
K9 got hurt recently.
K9 got hurt.
It's like fate.
The people just fall down. It's just like fate. It's destined to be.
But that's when it gets scary, though.
Too good to be
true. Yeah, exactly.
Too good
that's
to
when
be
it gets
true.
scary.
You get focused on what things look like right now. What is more likely to happen? Is it more likely that Godwin is hurt the entire year and does not come back? I get that he has an injury risk, but what is more likely? Do you have a 51% chance that he is not going to come back, or do you have a 51% chance that he's going to come back? Sure. The most likely scenario, if you look at any like PT, ortho, health guy, the most likely scenario is that he's going to come back healthy. Yes, he has an injury risk of 20, 30, 40, 49%, but still the most likely outcome he's going to come back. So if he's going to come back, and the most likely outcome is going to come back, and then over towards the like last half of the season, he is close to 80 to 90%. What does that mean? This guy that they just paid, this guy that's a vet, this guy that dominated in the slot. And I'm not like, this is not me saying like don't draft Emeka or that Emeka can't do X, Y, and Z. This is me saying that don't ignore that. Don't ignore the most likely scenario. The most likely scenario is that Odin's going to come back healthy. Godwin's going to be there. Evan's going to be there at some point.
Rashid White, who they like to throw the ball to.
Yeah, Rashad.
Or Rashad, whatever his name
and then maybe even McMillan. And then this is the last thing. I don't know if you have thoughts on this, but we kept watching the preseason game, and we were like,
he wasn't playing the slot.
Yeah, we keep talking about Emeka like he's going to be in the slot, just assuming he's going to be in the slot, and he can be. But it was Sterling Shepard in the slot. And then if you look at the receiving core, like they almost kind of have to put Emeka on the outside. When you go through
he was specifically playing the X.
Yeah, he was playing the X role,
which is Mike Evans' role.
Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe he goes.
It's got to change because they don't have the bodies anymore. Yeah. But still, he wasn't playing in the slot like we all assume. Yeah. And when Godwin comes back, you would assume Godwin's going to man that slot. So he would have to again go back.
And then new OC, like everybody's talking about the Baker Mayfield regression.
Scott, what's your take on Ibuka?
So I just want to say that's a great point. I hadn't even considered that. I'm more pessimistic on Chris Godwin, but you guys are the doctors. It's just at his age, and he's also a player where it's like, how does he win, or how has he won in the slot with elite slot stop-start ability and lateral agility? And yeah, sure, he'll come back, but is he going to be the same player? I don't know. Yeah. And then, do you want that in the slot? Wouldn't you rather Emeka Egbuka, who's more athletic at this stage of their respective careers and was so good in the slot in college? So that's a big reason why I am bullish on Egbuka. But I think the way to play it, if I were you, is you have all these shares. Is I would fade all the ADP risers that everyone is desperate to get, and now kind of reconsider
everybody's falling.
That's literally
we always say when somebody goes up in ADP, that means other people are going down.
Yeah.
So we try to figure out who the ones that are going down, because those are now values in our opinion.
And do we want to catch the falling knife, or is this not a time to acquire that?
Hopefully the knife isn't falling too fast.
Yeah. So I was going to ask you, your two winning teams, when did you draft those, and were those Vegas teams?
They were not Vegas teams because I was not going to Vegas at that time. I was in my apartment.
You never drafted in Vegas, right?
I've actually never drafted FFPC in Vegas. I have a home league where we routinely go to Vegas every 3 to 4 years. Gotcha. That's probably one of the best trips of the year. Just sit there, watch football. We draft, watch football. It's a great experience. But one team was late. One team was fairly early on. And but when I look back at those teams, they were the right combination, but they weren't drastically off from the teams that I drafted kind of throughout that season. Mm-hmm. Meaning that I'm not someone who's big on diversification. Who's it? I think it's Chad Schroeder. Shout out to the GOAT District. I think they had him on, and this guy's a beast. This guy's an absolute beast. I love just kind of hearing his process because it's very different than mine. I actually I like, if he's in a draft, he's one guy I'm paying attention to. But I think he's very big on just letting ADP fall to you, not necessarily reaching, having a good diversification process. I'm sure he has his fades and not, but for me, it's just look, I'm either going to have a really good year or it's going to be a really painful year, because my guys are my guys. I'm just I can't just sit in the draft and be you know what, let me pass on. I did it. Yes, I did it Sunday with JSN, uncharacteristic, but to be fair, JSN is right at that cuff. I was you know what, let's do a little bit of something different. But for the most part, most of my teams look the same. So I don't necessarily know that
y'all took JSN over Walker, didn't y'all?
Yeah, I wanted Walker. I think you wanted Walker.
Y'all did say y'all wanted Walker. Y'all let Theo bully y'all. Theo Devo y'all.
I'm with you, man. I'm not into diversification. It's the same way with financials, where I'm a very conservative investor. But the only stock I own right now is this Japanese micro cap stock. And it's I went all in on it back in April, and it's up 2.5x.
Specifics? No.
What's that ticker symbol? This was a tip from my buddy Andy. Shout out to Andy, the Magic Bakery on Substack. He's a retired hedge fund guy, but we've been high school friends. And so it's I was sold on the vision, and it's like, oh, okay, I could, put some of this on Google. That's a great stock, but I don't see Google 2.5xing in 6 months or 10xing in 5 years. And so like, it's just, I see this thing as, or Kenneth Walker, right?
Yeah.
I see this thing as massively plus EV, more plus EV than this other one. So just give me that. I'm going to go all in on this plus EV because it's better than the other one. And if I just suck this year, that's fine. I'm going to do this. I'm going to draft FFPC team till I'm like 70. So
pretty much.
know?
I keep telling myself.
So to be devil advocate or be on the side of Chad Schroeder, I think our mindset, because I kind of draft like the way he drafts is, we kind of understand that there's a chance we're just wrong. Regardless of how what we assume is going to happen or our prediction, we understand how chaotic the game could be. So with that chaos, and you can't game plan for chaos. Just kind of having a piece of things all over the place here, because all you need is one to win, right? Of course you want like 10 teams to all be ranked 1 through 10. That'd be great. But ideally, if I could just get one out of my X amount of teams to hit, I'll be happy. And I think that's the approach people that diversify their picks. Because if you don't do that, if you go all in, like you said,
and I've adopted that, and so where I've started to do that is in like the mid to late rounds. And it's almost like not necessarily like saying, okay, let me diversify for the fact of diversifying. Instead, and we used to have this discussion like in our first year or two of the pod, like talent versus situation.
So by the way, real quick, to interject, totally random. Y'all was on the stream last week. Y'all said we've been doing this for 4 years. It's been 5 years.
I didn't say that. He said that.
It's been 5 years, okay? We started in 21, all right? Give us that extra year.
But so like later in the draft, now my diversification process is like, I don't care what this guy's situation is. If he's talented and I can somehow see something like 5, 6, 7 steps ahead of a possibility of him becoming a thing, I'm going to draft him. And that's literally how I ended up with so many shares of Emeka Egbuka. Because early in the season, it was under the assumption that Godwin was at some point going to be healthy early in the season. Evans was there. McMillan was there. And Egbuka, I think we forget, this guy was not being touted as this amazing wide receiver prospect. We all said that, as great as the running back class was this year, everyone was saying
he kind of was.
But I'm saying everybody was saying the wide receiver class was not top tier years previously, right? Yeah. And so you had Ted McMillan, and then you had Hunter. Hunter. Yeah, I need to get that correct. Travis Hunter, then Ted McMillan, and then I think it was Egbuka next, right?
Egbuka or Golden.
Yeah, exactly. Or Golden.
Early on, Burden was wide receiver.
Exactly. So the pre-draft, let's not pretend like Emeka was just this amazing, guy, or that we had him as this elite wide receiver. But that's why his ADP was so low. But you could see that okay, but Evans is a little bit older. Godwin's coming off an injury. McMillan is good, but I don't think they drafted him. Clearly, they had they saw something in Emeka to take him in the first round. So you know what, it's a crowded situation. Let me just grab this guy, even though there may be somebody else here whose path is clear. Maybe it's a Josh Downs, or I was on Michael Pittman, or DeAndre Swift was kind of going in that realm too as well. I was like, let me just grab Emeka, because who knows? Like you said, chaos. Who knows?
Right.
So that's where I'm finding myself diversifying is where's the talented guy? Because these cliches, if you really start to think about them and apply them, they make a lot of sense, and they cream rises to the top.
Yep.
We're just seeing that. I wanted the Miami handcuff because I was just man, is Devon Achane going to make that was just worrying me. I like him, but is he going to make it, or are they going to want to So I was drafting a bunch of Jalen Wright, and I missed because I've never seen Jalen Wright and thought he was a great running back. But I just assumed that he was a handcuff, right?
Right.
But look what's happening. Cream is rising to the top. So if you were believing Ollie Gordon, the guy who was the best running back 2 years ago in college, you would have just been you know what?
But
crowded situation.
It wasn't just the risk of Achane being hurt. It was also the fact that there was a role a couple years ago with Mostert.
Yeah.
Very valuable. Yeah. I think he led the league in touchdowns. And you were trying to figure out who could be that Mostert for Achane, because it was a valuable role, right? And that player would be real cheap.
Can I give you guys some sources real quick?
Yes, please.
I'm friends with, I think is far and away the best Miami beat writer, and so he was telling me Jalen Wright, was in the doghouse last year, but he's kind of really impressed them with his work ethic early on in camp, and they wanted him to be more of what we saw 2 years ago, where like the RB2 had a role, the Mostert role. He had that earmarked for him. And then I got a message from this guy 3 weeks ago, and he was like, "Hey, disregard everything I said about Jalen Wright. They hate him. He couldn't be any more in the doghouse."
What?
Yeah, but the thing is, Gordon was the RB4. He played behind Madison throughout all of camp. Madison got hurt, and so now he's the guy. So a lot of things had to break right. I think the only lesson learned there is like Jalen Wright stinks. Like Brett
Don't draft suck.
That's the lesson here. Jalen Wright stinks.
The guy stinks. Just don't. Brett Whitefield was like, I made this meme with Brett where it's like, you know, the David Montgomery thing where it's like feet of. So my thing was like feet of Raheem Mostert, speed of Raheem Mostert, vision of Helen Keller.
Okay, that's good to know. Though. So I can really drop on my Jalen Wright.
So when I asked this question, I wanted like true fades of guys who are presumed to be starting players, but you guys are not drafting at all. And I had a particular player in my mind, so I'm just going to bring him up because nobody brought him up. But Javonte Williams, he's presumed to be the running back for the Dallas Cowboys.
We literally just answered that question.
Yeah.
No. But like think about it though. Like Phil Maffa, who Dio was high on, is now injured. Jalen Blue is injured. So it's really just him. Deuce Vaughn is cut. So it's really just him and Miles Sanders. Like, are we
Blue? What? Why is nobody bringing up? What's wrong with Jalen Blue?
He's hurt. Like
he's not hurt.
Like an ankle injury.
He's back.
He just wasn't a volume guy in college.
Who, Blue?
Right. Yeah. Okay. I mean that was my take.
Oh no, I don't like Blue. I'm just saying nobody brings it. I was a Phil Maffa guy. Personally.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm still a Phil Maffa.
So I like that. Yeah. I think remember the Alfred Morris year, how he just came out of nowhere. And my friend I was telling you about the high volume, high stakes player, he had a ton in that year. I'm like, what happened? And he was like, it's just ambiguous backfield, just always draft the cheapest guy.
Yeah.
And so to me, it's like, why would I ever get Javonte Williams when I could just take Miles Sanders in the last round? Like, do we really think Javonte is any better than Miles? I don't. I think Javonte is like not the same player since that injury. So
because you're betting on him, he was a couple of years removed from the ACL injury last year. So
right.
Like, that's when you should have seen the improvement. So you're betting on that he was better than he was last year, which would be going against the grain. And we saw Rico Dowdle in that role last year. And Rico Dowdle, by all accounts, did very well. But were you upset that you didn't draft Rico Dowdle last year?
No.
So
Well, here's the thing. Dak Prescott missed all that time. That offense was garbage without him.
That's true.
Over the and Dowdle had a 100-yard rushing game in 4 of the last 6 games, all without Dak. There might be value. There really might. I don't know. I just can't. Javonte.
Nobody wants to Javonte on the team.
You know what you should do? You should draft who you think is the most talented back in that backfield.
So now that you bring up Maffa, look, I want people to understand this. Okay, this guy was a 7th round pick, who I guess quote unquote was hurt or at least running behind all these other backs on the team. They could have cut this guy. Yeah, they could have cut him. Hopefully, gotten back to practice squad. They did not. Yeah, they said, you know what? We're going to keep you on the roster, and we're going to stash you, which is what I see it being. Stash you on the IR. Yeah. This phantom shoulder injury that came out of nowhere because I watched that last game. I didn't see him get hurt. Like, where'd that come from? Yeah. We're gonna stash you on the IR. We're gonna see what these other guys do for these first 4 weeks. Yeah. And if we don't like what we're seeing, just stay ready.
Okay. That's interesting.
Hashtag. Yeah. Stay ready. So do with that information as you want. All right. So real quick for the next question. Out of the blue, sorry. Yeah. When we have guests, I like to just throw out questions. But Scott, what is your take on Bucky Irvin this year?
I feel like I like him. I'm excited about him. I think I believe them all talking about him getting more work. They're committing to him. And he was insanely hyper efficient last year. And so I think he has some of that Jahmyr Gibbs upside. The only issue with him is he's a little more expensive. So the opportunity cost is higher than a Chase Brown, than a Kenneth Walker, who I just like more. But I do like Bucky. Like I'd be happy to have him on my team.
So you would be okay drafting where he's going, like mid-second? Well, actually all over the second. I
mean, probably not when Walker's there. What, round 4?
Yeah, 3, 4. Yeah. So you'll. I got you. What about Chase? Because Chase is also going around the same place as Bucky. It sounds like you have Chase above him.
Yeah, so I do, but it's one I've flipped back and forth on all throughout the offseason.
Okay.
And so yeah, right now it's Chase Brown, but I do like all those guys. I have this tier where it's Chase Brown, Bucky Irving, Kenneth Walker, Amarian Hampton, and I just tell our subscribers, just make sure you get at least one. If you can get two, that's great.
Yeah, nice.
All right, so let's talk about rookies for a second. I want to break this question up on who are the top rookies that you're drafting. I want to talk about redraft first, and then later we'll talk about Dynasty because I want to talk about in the short term and then in the long term. But in the short term, who are those rookies that you see paying dividends in year one right now that you're drafting?
I kind of think it's so many of them. I went on a rant about this on the latest School of Scott episode. It's dropping Friday, but I started off the podcast with this. I had this tweet years ago where it's like, hey, now it's redraft season in August. You don't want to be too best ball brained and you don't want to be too dynasty brained. And like best ball brain is you have a bunch of meager ADP beaters and not, players with league winning upside. And then dynasty brain is you went too young unnecessarily. But now I actually think that's one of our greatest edges in redraft this year is loading up in the rookies. And like this was certainly the case 3 weeks ago before all these guys skyrocketed in price. It's still the case on ESPN. But for one thing, it's like the people you're drafting against maybe aren't as aware of it.
Right.
But it's also just like the way the NFL is headed. It's like these guys just break out immediately, or even like at the end of their rookie year, you know exactly who they are. Like this guy, either you're great, you're good, or you're a bust. And so I really think that's the case. As for why it's the case, it could be a number of things. It could be a lot of the 7-on-7. You have like look at this kid in college, or look at the freshman wide receiver class. All of them, these guys like running pristine routes because they've been doing it at such a young age. It was also the 2011 CBA, which just crushed vet value, where it's like, take a backup left guard who's pretty good. The rookie equivalent to that player, like equal in talent, is going to cost 1/10 to 1/15 as much as that vet. So it just destroyed vets. The only vets age 30 and beyond you see in the NFL today are great. They have to be great. And so it's a lot of these different factors and all these to just say, so it's a lot of it. I agree with you. I think this is the best rookie running back class since 2017. It's not as good as that class, but that class was, how many league winners were in that class? It was insane. And it's not quite priced like that. And then Emeka Egbuka in a great situation. Ted McMillan, I'm in love with. Travis Hunter in the Liam Cohen slot role. And so it's just all these guys, the tight ends. I think this was a historically great tight end class in terms of it being top heavy. So I just love all the rookies personally.
Agreed. And to kind of echo that point from someone who has just kind of been getting into Dynasty like the last 3 years, I would say this year I've drafted more rookies than I have ever drafted it for redraft. I mean, by just a lot. By 100, 200x fold. Like it's been pretty insane to and it's a comfortable way of I'm not scared to draft these guys. Like Travis Hunter is somebody that, we talked about on the pod. I get all the, potential issues and where he could fail, but the comfort level that I have at drafting these rookies. And I think a lot of it is a lot of what you just said, but these guys are just in really good situations. These guys are in really good situations. And even with the prices rising from maybe previous years, I still think that they're discounted. We're just now getting to the point where I think Ted McMillan is being drafted where he probably should go. Before, and this is even in the main event season, he was routinely going in the 5th round. And it was just a lock and load every single time. I feel that same way about Travis Hunter in the 6th round. It's just almost impossible for me to not draft him. I wish I felt that way about Trevion Henderson in the 5th round, but a lot of these other guys, and the rookie running backs, I guess maybe what I've been doing with the running backs is just sort of kind of taking the cheaper options instead of paying for some of the more expensive options, because even before the Quinshon Judkins news, I really wasn't taking him that high either, but I was just give me the Scadaboos, Give me the Bashal Tutins. Give me all of these guys who are going later, and I'll just bet, and build my team around these guys, carrying me to a championship, in the fantasy playoffs.
Yeah. I think so. I've been on all the rookies, but I think Tet is still a good value right now. Because if we compare Tet, who was the first wide receiver taken in this draft, to the first wide receiver taken in the last draft, Marvin Harrison, we were taking Marvin Harrison beginning the second round last year. And we were comfortable. We didn't see anything. Dude didn't even do the combine.
You couldn't
we
draft
were like, just faith, I'm going with Marvin Harrison. This year, like you were saying, Tet, the first wide receiver in the draft, we were taking the fifth. Now he's going as high as the fourth. Sorry?
Second wide receiver in this draft, but go ahead. Disrespect.
Gonna start a whole other conversation. Well, okay. The first being Hunter is being taken right now. What is he being taken right now? 6'7"?
Yeah.
So compare the difference between the 2 years.
I think it's cornerback, but good.
And then the running back, y'all know I've been on Henderson. I didn't know Henderson was gonna fly as high as he's done. I think a lot of it's been due to preseason. If he didn't do what he's been doing in preseason, I mean,
if it's warranted, I think that's a huge question. A special teams touchdown, how repeatable is that?
I know.
You look at the usage. It was 9 carries for Ramondre, 1 carry.
Yeah, I know. That's why
that one carry looks so damn good.
That's why it makes me so mad, because it's like they overvalued him now. So now I can't even get him the way I wanted to get him before. And I'm having to argue against the guy that, is my highest on Dynasty player, So, but that's that. But the other rookies, and again, I love all the rookies. I can talk myself into literally all of them. But the 2 rookies that are sticking out to me right now, and I came around real late, but I wanted to kind of mention them. Number 1 is Woody Marks, who, like I was telling y'all recently, I was talking to a Texans beat writer recently, and he was saying he thinks Woody Marks should be the starter. Like he said,
inside info. We got sources too.
He's been going to practice. And he's like, I believe before cutdown day that Woody Marks should be the starting running back. He was like certain about this. Wow. So I was like, okay, that's interesting. And then the other guy, which I just started looking at recently, and I don't know why, I'm like super late to the party, but Kyle Monungai.
Do you think he's big? I don't know.
I don't know about his talent, but it looks like the Bears really want to use it. And you know how we feel about the options there. They haven't even mentioned Rashawn Johnson. Like, I don't even know if I've seen him.
We don't know.
Is he alive? Can we get proof of life or something? You know what I'm saying?
We know he's injured for now.
Wait, you know this bit? Coach Speak Index has been tracking every single press conference. No beat writer has ever asked about Rashawn Johnson, and none of the coaches have mentioned his name. So it's like, is he real? Does he lie?
They're like, hey, do not bring up this guy's name.
Just go sit in the back.
First of all, like, how did I not know that the 2017 running back, I'm looking at.
How did you not? That's C-Mac. That's Zeke.
Oh my God! It is Leonard Fournette. We got C-Mac. I'm just gonna go down the list right quick. Dalvin Cook, Joe Mixon.
Damn.
No, we are not done. Alvin Kamara.
There were some hitters.
And this is what Alvin Kamara's in the 3rd round.
Yeah.
Aaron Jones.
Kareem Hunt. Deontay Foreman. I mean, man, James Conner.
And they're like 2 in the league.
Yeah.
Austin Eckler, UDFA.
Yeah.
If you drafted running
That's
back
crazy.
Year,
Just
you
hearing
like
that.
that's the benefit.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
This is nuts. I didn't know that it was that deep.
Yeah.
Pause.
But I think the biggest difference is a lot of those, like some of those players were taken in the 1st round. Like they had a fair share. So, they were viewed higher than the rookies this year, because I think we only had 2 this year, right? Yeah. Genty and Hampton.
Yeah.
So, but the talent, I think it's, I mean, I say it's equal, but right after them.
Well, when I hype up Tootin and Scatabo, I'm always met with, but they went day 3, and it's like, because it was like the most loaded running back class you could wait on it.
Right.
So I think like in a normal class, those are easy day 2 caliber.
Yeah.
Man, that is crazy. All right, so let's talk about rookies who may not give us immediate returns, but for Dynasty, Dio, I know that you always have Dynasty running backs for us to stash.
And receivers and tight end. I got all of them.
You got all of them.
Right.
But
let's talk about some of these Dynasty rookies that may not give us the returns now. We may not should, consider, in our drafts, but we should stash away for Dynasty.
So since you're asking me personally, and y'all can chime in because y'all probably know a little bit better, but I like these rookie receivers. I don't think they're going to give you much production immediately out the gate, but they got pathways. You know, a lot of them. Torrey Horton has a pathway. Of course, the Texans guys have pathways eventually.
Yeah.
What's his name? The guy that the Browns just got.
Isaiah Bond. Who may be better.
Should have been a second or third round pick.
Don't shoot me. He may be better.
Chill.
Then
don't put that in there.
Matthew Golden.
Yo, this is my take. I got in so much trouble for this take.
Yeah. Well, I said this last year, man.
He was better than Golden at UT, right?
Historic. I mean, like when you look at like them being recruited out of high school, Isaiah Bond was definitely, I think, a higher star recruit.
Yeah.
You know,
no, every step of the way. And then last year, Isaiah Bond got hurt, but when they were both healthy, he was the clear wide receiver one. Golden did nothing, and he at Houston either. He was like the wide receiver 3 or 4.
Really, our number one receiving option was Gunnar Helm,
and that's I was going to bring him up. Gunnar Helm is somebody. Gunnar Helm is getting first team reps now, even though they got Chiga Okonkwo.
I think he's going to push
who's young, by the way,
because she can't block.
Bingo. I think there's a risk there.
I was told by their best beat writer, Helm in the red zone, and then like Chig. Where Chig's going to dominate early on, but Helm red zone packages, and in the second half, don't be surprised if Helm steps up and starts playing again. Well, we were just talking about Bond. There's more sources if you guys don't mind.
Give us all the sources.
I had early on multiple teams, or the one team he talked to had a round 2 grade on Bond, and then because of the drama, was off their board, and then. You know, when he wasn't drafted through Bond's agent, he had multiple offers with like unprecedented money for a UDFA. There was interest. It was really just
he got money.
He got a fully guaranteed contract. As a UDFA,
they can't even get in an under contract.
Exactly. So that's crazy. But those are the guys I'm on right now. And go ahead. Not to mention the rookie running backs, but those receivers I like.
All right. So I do want to talk about advanced analytics.
Sorry, wait, real quick. I do have one question because this was kind of hinted at the end of our draft pod, and it's like been in the back of my mind. Another tangent. Right before week 1 games, I go through the waiver wire, I go through the teams, I go through the games, and I try to like think like, who is a player that like is just going to be sitting on waivers, and then after week 1. Is just going to be this massive like ad.
Oh, interjection. Keandre Lambert-Smith too. But go ahead.
Yeah, that's a good one. And that thought process got me like 60% Puka. Got me like because people again it's like hindsight. We forget
60% Puka.
That was the year I had 60% Puka in Kyron. That was a good.
And you didn't win. You didn't win at
all. I didn't win it overall. But that's the thing. It's like you got to you need like to be good and you need to be good. I mean, it was still very profitable. Like all this allows me to like free roll stuff, but like so you mentioned
60%.
It was a lot.
Jeez, that's an all-time call. You need a victory lap that on every podcast. Jeez,
this is we don't victory lap unless we like win trophies.
All right.
And actually, I think Dio was on Puka.
He was on
That's
Puka.
why we ended up
I was the first one on him because I made us draft him out of Dynasty. But then I was just kind of like, he's still a rookie. Let him grow. This man was like, nah, I'm about to go all in.
But the only reason I did that is because he brought him up.
You
know? And then I think you guys brought him up at some point too. And I was like,
Brett Whitefield compared him to Justin Jefferson pre-draft. And I'm like, really? This guy who had 800 career receiving yards in college? Like, dude, watch the film. This guy's a freak. And Brett, I should have listened. Brett Whitefield. And even the stats were great. It was just he had injuries.
It was like literally we were like right before we like the last waiver and like just pick up Puka. Just do it.
You know who it is this year.
So I was going to ask you about Terrence Ferguson, but you
shut up.
Okay, sorry.
This is what it is. And so I've tried to make this case with a bunch of different people, and it's not working. I think there's a really good chance he could be that guy because Sean McVay said,
it is Terrence Ferguson.
Oh, it is.
Okay.
And it said we would have taken him round 1 if we didn't get that Godfather offer from the Falcons. If you don't remember, that was a God. They gave up a round 1 pick for a non-quarterback.
I know as a Texans fan because I was like, why didn't we? Because remember we traded with the Giants.
Right.
Before that. Giants. I was like, damn, why didn't we talk to the Giants?
Darts looking good, you know? And so could have been a round 1 pick. And then the Rams keep everything really close to the vest in preseason. They don't give a lot away. Yeah. And the one thing we know about McVay is him more than any other play caller is where league winners reside. McVay offenses. Ryan Heath did this study, Anatomy of a League Winner, where it's like Sean McVay offenses produce like 6 times as many league winners on average besides Kyle Shanahan or whatever. And so it's just like you want to be invested in that offense.
Yeah.
They're talking nonstop about how you want to be more tight end centric, more 12 personnel focused. And so, hey, you remember random too. Tyler Higbee, there was that one like 6-week stretch where he had like 6 100-yard games.
That's why I still roster him. Like,
right.
I'm still lighting the candle. Like, come back.
Where was that?
We know it's in you. I know it's there.
And so this could be a guy where if he just comes out of the gates week 1 with a 60% route share and 3 targets, 4 targets, that's a guy to spend serious bad money.
Yeah. He looked good in preseason last week too. To add on top of that, the GM for the Jaguars, the young guy, I think he was with the Rams last year. And they were asking him before the Rams drafted, like, who do you think the Rams are about to draft for? He like called it. He's like, they're going to take Ferguson. Or maybe he said tight end. That's one thing. And the second thing is, I believe I heard rumors last year the Rams were trying to trade up to pick up Bowers. So they've been looking for a tight end.
That's a great point.
Yeah, they've been looking for a tight end for a little while. So they have a role in mind.
Exactly.
He's been stewing like, how do I get this guy on my roster so we can make this happen?
So first, now imagine Bowers on the Rams, but then also imagine Terrence Ferguson in the role that McVay imagined for Bowers with the Rams. So like there is
flip
you're not gonna do that.
The party's over.
Oh man,
it'll be a late release.
No, last question for the night. I do want to talk about advanced analytics because I do think with everyone talking about AI, with everyone trying to get an edge in these large field tournaments, whether it's FFPC, DraftKings, wherever you're drafting, what are those like stats that you're looking at that you think are actually predictors of league winners? So whether it's red zone target share, whether it's third down efficiency, things like that, like give us some of those stats that you go to specifically in the data suite that you think that fantasy football drafters should go to and use when they are trying to make start sits, drafting decisions, things like that.
Yeah, so for drafting, everyone should go and read Ryan Heath's article, Anatomy of a League Winner. Masterpiece. But he dives into this. He's like, how to predict league winners. It's like, first downs per route run is the GOAT wide receiver stat. Look at that. For quarterbacks, fantasy points per drop back. And you want, X scrambles per game or X design runs per game. And so he does that with every position. That's really good. I mean, honestly, you could just like read anything from Ryan or me. That's basically all we do. That's what we do for a living. But in season 2, it's the same thing. Ryan's advanced matchups where he dives into coverage shell data. That's really maybe our biggest edge right now in DFS. And so like matchups is you could just look at fantasy points per dropback versus fantasy points per dropback allowed and all this stuff. I did want to give one shout out to one stat in particular. So we launched ASS last year. Do you guys know about ASS?
No.
Average.
They know about ASS. So this is our custom.
We know about ASS.
Proprietary.
Yes, we do.
You know about ASS, yeah. Shout out Adonai Mitchell, great ass. So this is our custom proprietary metric. ESPN is open score, and it's not good. It's not as predictive as ours. They also cheat. The factor in targets per route run as a variable. Next gen stats, totally useless. You get credit for separation on screens and like targets behind the line. It's so stupid. And so this we have. It's very much like Matt Harmon's reception perception, but it's the most predictive thing on the market. And Ryan Heath did this study where if you just control for route share, so if you like strip out the 10% route share guys, or the guys running 5 routes per game, or the Marvin Mims who are maybe getting like scheme special shots deep or whatever, like gimmicky stuff. This is more predictive than yards per route run, which blew my mind. And so we've spotted a number of really good potential breakout candidates like Khalil Shakir and a few other guys. If you factor in route share, it's more predictive than yards per route run, which like every analyst was like, this is the GOAT wide receiver stats. So shout out to Ass. This maybe we get an Adonai Mitchell breakout this year. Christian Kirk, a very underrated Ass guy.
I've been trying to tell people
Yeah,
for so
that's
long,
been-
man. I've been trying.
Especially because if you've been drafting somebody like Rashee Rice, or maybe you're a Godwin truther, or even a Jordan Addison, and you're hoping that those guys will come into your. Christian Kirk is like the perfect guy to just slot in. That I have zero issues with starting.
speaking
Let me. How high should we be on Houston's wide receiver 2 and 3? Because I'm worried they should be like wide receiver 30 in my rankings, because this is a team that could lead the league in pass attempts. We saw Stephon Diggs and Tank Dell both finish top 15 in fantasy points per game, while Nico is smashing. And I have zero exposure to both guys.
I'll say this. Okay, I'm a big Texans fan, so I'm always like paying attention to everything they're saying. The players, since OTAs, they've been calling Christian Kirk the slot demon.
Yeah.
Like they're like all of them, not just like one player, but all of them are literally like raining praises on Christian Kirk, talking about how he's going crazy in the slot. Like, and that's why I put a tweet out maybe 2 months ago. Like, I think there's a chance we should be drafting Christian Kirk before Higgins, because at that point everybody looked at Higgins as wide receiver 2, which I'm not saying he's not going to be that, but just the drum beats that I was hearing or seeing by Christian Kirk the whole time, you know, and this is a new addition, right? It's not like somebody that, invested guy that been with the team for a while. Like, he just started with the team at OTAs, and they were talking about that, and they're still talking about like that to this day. He hasn't. I don't think he's played at all in preseason, so he's kind of been, been hiding or resting or whatever. But I see him being the guy that's gonna, especially we're talking about PPR.
And
I see him having a lot of value.
And for teams being very vanilla in preseason, like watching the Texans offense, especially that first team offense and the motions and the plays.
Yeah, we have a new OC. We have a new OC. So
I was very excited and giddy. I also think that there is a chance, because I've been kind of hearing it too. I don't know which tight end, so don't come at me with, I'm not going to throw names out there like Dalton Schultz and stuff like that. But I do think that there's going to be a tight end that's going to be relevant, especially like maybe in tight end premium. Like if you just need a guy, I think that there is going to be a tight end that may,
I don't know. I don't know. I think they might be limited with talent.
I hate to pull out my phone. I just have to leave a note to myself to move Christian Kirk way up in my rankings. Because
oh god, that's a lot of pressure.
Great pairing with Rashee Rice, and it's also not just is he a slot demon, but he's also on the field in 2 wide receiver sets. So early on, there's real upside there. There's real value there.
So,
Christian Kirk is ass.
All right, guys. Christian Kirk. I like that. All right, guys. I think that's our episode this week.
So we doing Vegas next week, right?
Vegas is next week.
We're gonna do a show in Vegas.
We're gonna try to put out some content.
Okay, that'll be.
I don't know exactly how we're gonna do it, but
we still
we're
working.
gonna do something in Vegas.
Still workshopping.
But yes, and we're gonna draft live in Vegas. If you guys are there, please hit us up. If you see us,
shout out to Scott for coming.
Yes,
really
thanks again,
it,
Scott, for coming, man. We really appreciate it, guys. Please like, rate, subscribe. We're out.
Yeah, smoking on his eye, swear really got me fried. I've been through a lot, I swear it helps me clear my mind. We put some work on the streets, we in overdrive. Saving 30% just to pay the fines. Only hit my phone if you need a 3-5. We making business moves, everyone is justified. My old lady dialed me up like when you coming home. I'm a man in these streets is my home. We doing 2-for-1s, work until we see the sun. They love the presence of my voice like I'm Big Pun. I switched the Prezi out for the day just. Sometimes